We're reading Rebbe Nachman's wisdom. We're on his pilgrimage. 28. The great perception that the Rebbe attained in the Holy Land is utterly beyond description. Never had one born of an earthly mother been worthy of attaining what he did through the air of the land of Israel. Words are completely inadequate to describe it. The Rebbe took great pride in the fact that he had been in the Holy Land. Toward the end of his life, he said that he derived great inspiration just from this. He said, "For a long time I have known that when a person wants to do something holy, he must face great barriers." 29. The man who insulted the Rebbe so much in Istanbul died immediately upon his return home. The Rebbe's attendant asked Rebbe Nachman, "Is it not written, for the righteous to punish is also not good?" The Rebbe answered him with the following parable. Once there was a king who was very fond of the young princes. He showed the prince all sorts of affection, doing everything he could to attract him. The child became a young man. One day he did something highly disrespectful to the king. The king told him, "No matter how much I love you, it still is impossible to go against the law of the kingdom. The judgment has been passed, and your sentence is death." The king commanded that the prince be bound in chains and imprisoned. The young prince began to think about his imminent death. In his mind, he could already feel the great pain he would suffer at the moment he would be killed. But he realized that this agony would only last an instant, and then he would be dead. Then he began to imagine the anguish of the king. He knew that the king loved him very much and still yearned for his presence. He understood how much pain his death would cause the king, and that his anguish would last forever. The prince worried more about the king's suffering than his own. He thought and thought about a way to spare the king his pain. Finally, an idea came to him. Shame is considered equal to death. He asked the jailkeeper to bring him before the king. Standing before the king, he said, "Truthfully, I know that your suffering is greater than mine. I also realize that it is impossible for you to ignore the law of the kingdom, but I think I know a way out. If you could arrange for somebody to publicly shame me, the sentence will be fortified, for shame is equal to death. Bring me a prisoner who has already been condemned to death. I will provoke him until he becomes angry and publicly insults and beats me. I will be bitterly humiliated, and this will be the same as death. Then take this condemned criminal and execute him according to his sentence. The people will think that he was killed because he insulted one of the king's favorite servants. In this way, neither the honor of the king nor his servants will be impinged." The same is true in this case. The Rebbe explained, a man might insult a tzaddik and, without realizing it, be doing him a great service. The tzaddik may have been condemned to death for some misdeed. The shame he experiences might then take place of his death sentence. Still, this tzaddik is a beloved servant of the king, and it is not fitting that an insult go unpunished. But to punish the man just for insulting the tzaddik is also not desirable, for the righteous punish is also not good. Therefore, the king brings it about that the man who insults the tzaddik should be one who has already been condemned to death. They may happen to be in the same inn, and this individual insults the tzaddik. The shame saves the tzaddik from more permanent judgment. In order to protect the tzaddik's honor, the other is then punished. The name of heaven is thus sanctified. But actually, it was a dead man who was killed, for he was previously condemned. Thus, we see that Hashem's ways are straight, and there is no unrighteousness in him.